The win of a lifetime. Don't miss your last chance to win $1,000 a day for life. Go to PCH.com before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Better hurry if you want the next big winner to be you. Enter at PCH.com now. Entries due 10/28.
From the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. USDA's Ag Statistics Service has published their estimate for the crops this year. This is the final crop estimate before the harvest begins. Peanuts was forecast at 6.79 billion pounds. That's 3.3 million tons. That's up 24% last year. The planted area of 1.67 million acres is up 17% from last year. The area harvested, they said, would be about up 17% as well. The average yield for the U.S. from peanuts, 4,185 pounds per acre. That's up 236 pounds per acre from last year. If realized, they said this would be a record high for Alabama and for Florida. On corn production for grain forecast at 14.9 billion bushels. That's up 9% from 2019. Yields are expected to average a record 178.5 bushels per harvested acre. That's up 11 bushels from last year. The area harvested for grain is 83.5 million acres. That's up 3% from last year. Soybeans production forecast at 4.31 billion pounds, up 21% from last year. Yields are expected to be about 51.9 bushels per acre, and that is up 4.5 bushels from last year. On cotton, all cotton production is forecast at 17.1 million 480-pound bales. That's down 14% from last year. Yields are expected to be a record 910 pounds per harvested acre, up 87 pounds from 2019. 12.1 million acres. That acres in cotton is down 12% from 2019.
Southeast AgNet is social. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, where you can be sure to find all of the agriculture news for the Southeast.
I'm Tyron Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
Don't look now, but the camellias are budding, and that means it's time for you to hurry on over to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and pick out your camellias. Bob's famous heirloom camellias in the smaller number 1 size that will sell for $29.99 later are just $12.99 this week at Bob Wine's. The large number 4 size heirlooms are 2 for $99.99. Other great buys: Confederate jasmine just $6.99, split leaf philodendron just $24.99. Jasmine, $6.99, and also ground and Malaysian orchids now available at $29.99. Listen to this, a terrific BOGO on Arbor Vita. Buy one and get one free. All hanging baskets are buy one, get one at half price. There's a lot to see and huge savings this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, just east of Lake Weir Avenue. Daily till 4:30 in the same blooming place since 1952.
On the first and third Wednesday mornings each month at 9:05 a.m., Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest as we learn all about the exciting lifestyle and new home choices available at Ocala's premier adult active community, On Top of the World. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chats. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
Today will be mostly cloudy and humid with a thunderstorm in spots this afternoon and a high of 87 to 91. Partly to mostly cloudy and humid this evening, low tonight 74 to 76. Then expect showers by tomorrow afternoon. Partly cloudy and humid otherwise, high Thursday 89 to 91. Friday, look for some sunshine, then turning cloudy and humid with a thunderstorm and a high of 88 to 91. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holbrook.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
to the show. You're listening to AIM Ocala Live, WOCA, the Source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. As we're broadcasting to you live from the Paddock Mall, streaming live, YouTube Live, WOCA, the Source Radio. As we've had a busy show so far, as we just wrapped up there with Dr. Kenneth Adams, Chief Medical Officer at United Healthcare. Everybody get out there. If you have a pre-existing condition, don't be too scared. Get what you can to get your help from your local doctor. As we're moving right along, here is now 6 minutes past the top of the 9 o'clock hour. We welcome our segment, as we do on Wednesdays, with On Top of the World, Robert Colin in the studio. Good morning, Bart.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You brought a guest here, Jessica Pinkowski, if I said that correctly, as the fitness manager there at On Top of the World, to talk a little bit about what it means to get a little bit more active. Now that we're coming through this, we've rounded the corner. Now let's get active. Let's do that. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
It's very nice to be here.
Yeah, so, as COVID kind of brought us all inside and forced us to stay at home, what's been really exciting is that Jessica and her team have come up with innovative ways to get people exercising, even during staying at home.
Yeah.
But then in June, and I'll let Jessica kind of really expand on this, we returned to life again, and she's really seeing the fruits of that labor as people really coming out and doing things. And I just wanted Jessica to kind of talk about what are people doing right now, and how is that kind of feeling? What's the energy like back there? What's going on right now?
Well, I have to say the energy is amazing. During that time that we were housed, our team got together and said, how can we keep people active and well? So we did a lot of streaming. And that is still very popular right now. We still have live streaming going on. But once we opened the doors and we started back with our fitness classes and the gym, it was a bit of a trickle, but we did gain their trust because we are safe. We social distanced all the machines. Our classes, we actually moved our fitness classes to a larger facility
so
that we could house everybody and keep them safe and motivated. And now here we are in September, and we just couldn't be happier.
Right.
Everybody is really abiding by the mask rules, keeping it safe, and they want more. So our classes continue, our schedules continue to grow every month, which is really exciting.
Yeah, how does that make you feel for what you see towards the end of the year now, with kind of getting back to a somewhat normal routine and everything else? It's got to feel pretty good.
I absolutely think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely think everybody is feeling good, feeling healthy, and it's because they're exercising. It's because they're practicing everything that we've encouraged them to do. And so by the end of the year, I really see our fitness schedules growing even more, which is a wonderful thing.
Robert mentioned fruits of your labor. How hard was it to try to figure out how to navigate this different construct, if you will, kind of thinking about, like when you mentioned with the streaming, what was it like to try to put all this together?
On Top of the World has a great team. We've got so many supporters out there and good leadership that every day we just learn something new and we spearheaded it. And I have to say, every day is a new day. You don't know what it's going to bring, but we put our heads together and you brainstorm first, and then you execute what the meetings say, what our leadership says, and when you got good leadership, good things happen.
Was there a moment where you, like you said, it was kind of like a trickle in the beginning of people coming back, and do you just think it was a moment where, like, we're doing the right thing because you just saw more and more kind of come into it, right?
Yeah, like I said, there's a trust factor there, and when you feel that you trust the cleaning policy, the mask policy, when you have that trust, you're willing to engage.
Yeah.
And so it like I said, it might have taken a week to a month, but every day there was a little bit more and a little bit more, and word got out that we are doing our absolute best to keep everybody safe.
But it's not just the gym being open so you can use the treadmill. It's classes going on. So what kind of classes are we doing that we're able to?
Yeah, so our classes, which is my favorite thing to talk about because that's my expertise, is group fitness. And so when you create a schedule, and we've got classes at both both fitness centers. So at the Arbor Fitness Center, we opened up our aqua classes. We've got an outdoor pool, an indoor pool. There's deep water, there's shallow, and there's social distancing. So it's a lot of fun to watch how these pool classes are engaging all of our residents, so that social factor is there. And when you socialize, it's part of your wellness alone. So it's on top of exercise. It's social, it's emotional, and it's great. So we have our pool classes, and then at the rec center, our land classes. There's just a variety of components of fitness that we have to concentrate on. So for the anxiety, the stress that some of us might be going through, we have our yoga classes, mind-body classes, and then after that, we've got our strength and stretch classes. That's going to be more for our golfers, people who want to increase their strength and maintain their mobility. And just this month, we brought back Move to Improve. So Move to Improve is specifically for our Parkinson's disease residents or stroke, really for movement disorders. Anybody and everybody can come to the classes.
Even people who may have had some kind of injury and they're trying to recover, would that be?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
People who just need to restore their mobility, is that kind of?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And you see that a lot. If, knee surgery, hip surgery, we can...
We're just sitting on the couch too long watching TV.
Those classes really tie into all the components of fitness. So if you want to get your cardio in, there's a class for that. If you want to get your strength in, there's a class for that, flexibility. And then, of course, the last component is body composition. So the nutrition comes into play.
So with golf, and I jump on in there, what kind of things do you do to build strength, and what kind of exercises are there for golf training?
Golf, if you look at what happens in a golf game, you've got that trunk rotating with a lot of power. So when it comes to...
It's all about the core.
You got it. It's core strength training. And then at the same time, what you call, when you swing, you've got that weight shift. And when you shift your weight, your spine rotates and your hip kind of extends. So that's a mobility factor. So you want to stay strong in the core, and you also want to keep that mobility in the hip. Not to mention power, right? So you can pick up a dumbbell and put it back down. That's strength. But if you put power behind that, that's going to increase the force, and you're going to do it a little bit quicker, and that's going to fire off a totally different muscle group. And for golfers, that's key, is to keep your power.
So what exercise would you actually do?
For core, you would probably do a lot of planking, right?
Is that right? Yeah.
So if you're going against gravity and your whole body is parallel to gravity, that's your surface area, and that's a lot of strength to do that. So I would start with planking, whether you're on the wall and you just walk your way down, maybe planking on a chair, a kitchen countertop, and then eventually increasing your strength to plank on the floor. And then you can add multiple planes of motion to that plank. So whether you're going to reach under, that's where you're going to get that rotation in there. And then for power, that would be so much fun, right? And we do workshops pre-COVID. We'll get them back in there again, where we bring in workshops specific to golf, tennis, things like that. But yeah, if you wanted to work on core power, then you would add that speed and force to the exercise.
That's awesome.
And weight shifting too.
And
so
some
that's
balance.
That's
but
right.
balance works for a lot of different things that you work on.
Absolutely.
You see that a lot with, especially as people get older, they have balance issues, and you've seen people fall and hurt themselves, or hips especially. So what kind of stuff do we do for balance, especially for those other people who aren't playing golf?
We take balance very seriously. And so fall risk reduction exercises are always a part of a class.
Right.
We do have one specific class that's dedicated, the entire class is dedicated to fall risk reduction. And so we work on alternating bases of support, whether it's a wide base, narrow base, tandem, and then we work on weight shifting, we work on weight transfers, and then you can just sprinkle in vestibular work, visual work, things like that, and it really does help. Even the instructors love to teach it because it helps us as well.
I'm just going to take a plug for On Top of the World. You look at the kind of passionate people that come to work for On Top of the World, and just how excited they are to be there. I mean, that's really something that's wonderful. So
I
just watching you, I'm smiling. I'm like,
I'm
this is awesome.
Yay, I got to go to work today.
No, that's great. And then, you think about it is as folks get older in age, we had a staggering statistic when we had the VA clinic in here that did a whole 45-minute show. This was about 2 months ago on something as simple as slips and falls and how that's so detrimental to what could lead to so many other problems later on when you're a certain age. So I absolutely, completely understand why you take the mobility and the balance, so passionately, because that's something like you're right there that can eliminate that so much, and then at the same time too, at least it's something that they can work to have the avenue to reduce the slips and falls, which is it's a big part of it. I just got done visiting my grandparents up in Ohio, and they're in their mid-80s, and it's incredible the amount of reduction in mobility just from year to year that I've seen. I think it's been about 6 months since I had last seen them, and it was that moment of wow, how quickly that happens. So when you think about the ability to have something like that you guys offer that can keep that from deteriorating so quickly, and I think that's a great thing to have as an option.
But when you get it, like what Adam's talking about, when you start maybe shuffling or you're not moving very fast, what kind of exercises are we talking about that you actually start to revitalize yourself?
Shuffling is very common, and so that's going to be two main factors kind of pop in my head is mobility and strength. And we are such advocates of strength training because the muscle will just go dormant. And we don't want that. So a lot of strength training. And when you shuffle, obviously you're not picking your feet up, right? Because that's gravity. So you need to make sure you're strong enough to pick your feet up. But when we shuffle, there's so much that's going on with the foot and the ankle. And the ability to lift your toes while the heel strikes, that's called dorsiflexion, and when you don't have the strength in that muscle right next to your shin, you can't lift your toes up. And when you can't lift your toes up, they catch, and that's why you're going to trip.
And that's which we know leads to more of those slips and falls.
You can revitalize it. You can strengthen it.
You can get stronger at any.
Do you see any of that? I mean,
absolutely.
And be honest with you, that's one of the funnest things about your job, when you see that change, when you know that people think it's impossible, but then they start working with you and they see that change, right?
Yes. We see a lot of people that they've had their fair share in their career. Maybe it was a lot of sitting, maybe it was a lot of typing, and then they're ready to start, I don't like to say retirement, I say a new phase in life. So they're ready to start phase 3, and they want to be well, they want to be healthy, and they meet us for the first time, and then 6 months later, they're a new person.
Yeah.
They're a new person. They're strong. They're happy. They're well. So
they have the energy too, just from doing that alone.
You've seen people come from when they had very sedentary lives. They worked in an office and they were heavy, and then they come back and they work out at the gym for the first time. They move to On Top of the World. They start exercising. They get really into fit. And even I want to say Cami even said that somebody even came to work maybe at the ranch or something doing that.
We have multiple instructors that have moved to On Top of the World. They've participated in the classes there. They want to be well, and they just want wellness in their lives. And so, we hand pluck them.
Yeah.
And they're instructors for us now. What a great way to show an example.
It must be a funny story for the grandkids, though. They're like, what do you mean? Grandpa was, he just sat around watching football all the time. And now, what is he? He's teaching aerobics.
And I mean, like I said, they're
doing
losing
Zumba.
weight.
Yeah.
They're getting stronger, their body composition. So at any age, you can change and really set an example for other residents. It's great to see. We love it.
Yeah, in these examples of in-person classes, how many different classes are offered? How many different types of classes are offered for fitness?
Well, pre-COVID, we had over 100.
Oh, wow.
So we're slowly getting back also. Currently, right now, there's Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from about 8 to noon.
Yeah.
So it's a good chunk. And plus our water classes are Monday through Friday, 9 and 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to do, a lot of classes to choose from.
And that's where we're saying that's why you look towards the end of the year, what we can see for 2021. Gonna get excited because you know that can come back to having a lot more like
We also have outdoor power parks. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yes, our outdoor power parks, they're beautiful. And they, too, are very inviting. They are positioned social distanced, and they bring in a very simple way to work out.
So it's outdoor exercise equipment, essentially, that's designed to be outside.
Yeah.
It's really a playground for adults, honestly. And but the way the team chose the different machines to play on bring in all those components again. So there's strength, there's core, there's balance, and it's set beautifully outside. So yeah, they get used a lot.
Some of it, or most of it's in the shade, as I can see.
Yeah, depending on what time of the day it is.
And then there's, you just go out there and I see that people are on their own pretty much out there, or do you do classes that do use the power park as well?
You know, there's a fun class that we do, and it's called Take a Hike. So we all gather at the recreation center and we walk to the power park, and we break into different
It's a pretty
groups.
good walk, by the way. It's not like a quarter mile. It's at least a half mile or so down there.
Yeah, that's why we say take a hike. Bring your water, wear your sneakers. We're doing it. And we're coming up on that time of year again where the weather is going to be perfect. And so all of our trainers just break them up into teams, and we take them through this little circuit workout. And that's the kind of education that we provide for our residents so that they can do that on their own.
Sure.
Right? Their partner, their friends, they can all get together, stay safe, and keep their workouts if they're not comfortable going indoors just yet.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago we had Master the Possibilities, Michelle Scheidler here. We were talking about that.
Yep.
What kind of classes do you do with Master the Possibilities? And whether it's nutrition or whether it's, I think we were talking about mind body.
Yeah, well, Master the Possibilities, our fitness team, Cammie and I, we do a program, and it's about 8 weeks in length, and it's called Lose for Life. So every week we meet with a group and we educate them on better nutrition. We don't tell them what foods to eat. We teach them, we guide them into better choices. And that program, that's a really great program. Cammie and I also are doing educational programs at Master the Possibilities about brain power.
Yeah.
So brain power is a new class that we have been studying for last year, and we launched it this year, and it's really exciting how brain power works. So we love exercise. We love what exercise does for our brain and our bodies. But what brain power is you take your fundamental moves of the body and you layer in cognitive drills that while you're moving, you have to be thinking. And you think, you're going to have to provide an answer.
Right.
So, for example, I would have somebody doing squats down and up or chair stands, and they're successful, right? And then you might pipe in and say, okay, what's 5 times 11 plus 3? And keep squatting. Okay, so those cognitive drills are what we're layering into exercise, and that's some of the sessions that we're doing at Master the Possibilities.
And kind of two things is one, it's kind of that if you don't use it, you lose it, right? And that works for not just the body, but for the mind as well.
Because I had to take a moment. You said 5 times 13 plus 3. I'm like, 18. Yeah.
But in some ways, or maybe it's real that the brain is a muscle, and so you do have to exercise it and use it, and that's what's so great about these kind of programs.
Absolutely, that's what we learned are the connections in our brain, the synapse. When we exercise alone does help with those connections. However, there's ways to make more connections, create more neurons, and when you get those cognitive drills in there, when you have to think and move at the same time, it just makes you sharper, not smarter. Sharper.
Now, Robert, I was going to ask you, everything that we know that we've talked about with coming along with Calessa and the expectations for that neighborhood and everything, we know with the Aquatic Center, is there going to be something similar that you might have when it comes to fitness and all that, or would that just be offered where it is now with everything with On Top of the World?
Well, so far, we haven't really gone into what we're going to do with a lot of that. I mean, the fitness center, there is going to be a fitness center at the pool. It's going to be smaller, but of course the pool will be available for people to use for lap swimming. Then we're going to have clubhouses and Calessa as well. So a lot of that will be available for people. And then, of course, the ranch, which is just down Southwest 80th Avenue, not very far away, is open to the public, and it will be a great place for... Do you teach classes at the ranch?
Yes.
Okay. Proud to do it, right?
But you're at how many different facilities are you teaching at and you working at?
At 3. So the ranch, the arbor, and the recreation center, and sometimes Indigo. We're over at Indigo every once in a while.
Indigo community has its own, and maybe you could talk about this, but you can walk into Indigo. They don't necessarily have live classes, but they have a TV screen, and they've got videos already ready to go for you to use and to follow along with different exercises. So it's really neat, and people use that all the time. It's amazing. I thought, well, who's going to use this? But you go by there, and people are always in there moving around.
Fitness on demand is what Robert's referring to, and especially after COVID and when we came back, people wanted to get moving. Maybe classes weren't quite where they were launched yet, and so we've seen such an influx on Fitness on Demand. And what's exciting is our Fitness on Demand, On Top of the World, has their own channel.
Oh, wow.
And so there are close to 31 videos specific to the needs of our residents. So that's really a cool factor that Indigo and Arbor Fitness Center
and
have.
Just all the options you offer. And this is a little shout out to one of my old bar guests, and he was a gym rat himself, and he always talked highly about the opportunities that were there to keep the exercise going, not only for the physical, like you mentioned, for the mental, especially with everything everybody's dealt with this year. A lot of times for him it was just going to the gym to clear the mind, right, and having the opportunity to do that. And you guys provide so much of those opportunities, like you've talked about here so far today. Excellent stuff. That brings us to the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Jessica, absolutely wonderful having you in here to talk about that, and I love your enthusiasm with it. That's what we need to finish out this year: some positivity and some enthusiasm.
And you can see it happening. That's
right.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Adam.
You got it, guys. More AM Ocala Live coming your way. Back after this. Stay tuned. We're going to keep this Wednesday rolling here. Hump Day. That's right. I like the enthusiasm. We'll keep that rolling for the show. Back after this.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Battering the Gulf Coast after making landfall this morning in Gulf Shores, Alabama as a Cat 2. The region could be in for historic flooding.
Fox is reporting the upwards of 35 inches of rain that Hurricane Sally is going to dump on parts of Alabama and in Florida, especially Pensacola, completely underwater. There's also parts of Alabama that are seeing flooding. Bridges are being shut down. Police are asking people, do not go outside and assess the damage.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer in Mobile, Alabama. President Trump in an ABC town hall insisting he didn't want to downplay the threat from the coronavirus.
With China, I put a ban on